Okay, so I'm going to give a slightly different perspective on a killer app. I'm from Mippin, we're the world's largest app developer. We have something like 50 to 60,000 apps live in app stores globally, and in excess of 150 to 200 million downloads. I want to talk about three things quickly. So firstly, what is a killer app? To try and get some views from around the audience, maybe, and share my views of what a killer app is, and actually inject some maybe slightly different perspectives. Secondly, very briefly, look at two key trends that we're seeing that we think change the market quite significantly. And then thirdly, look at what does it all mean? What does it mean for app stores? What does it mean for killer apps? And fundamentally, what might it mean for some of you guys in the audience and for us? So firstly, what is a killer app? Angry Birds, Instagram, WhatsApp, I think everyone would regard those as knockout successes for all of the companies that have built them. But there are other examples that may be more simple and maybe closer to home. OK Magazine is a celebrity gossip magazine in the UK and licensed internationally. We do their app across iPhone, Android, Windows, BlackBerry, etc. It's a very, very simple app that we do. We take a very simple content feed from their website, we inject it into a native app across all the different device formats, and then make it available in the app stores. Very simple, very straightforward, not a high degree of sophistication to it. They are getting nearly 10 times as many in-app page views from the portfolio of apps that we've built for them than they get from their website. They were staggered by these stats. They have a PDF page turner app, they were looking at investing in some pretty sophisticated apps, but actually doing a really simple app really worked for them. It doesn't have to be a kind of bells and whistles, all singing and dancing concept. And going even further, what other apps could be considered killer apps? And the key thought in our mind as a business and what we're doing is, in whose mind is it a killer app? And trying to understand that perspective. And just to throw in some ideas here. What about Joe Plumber? Joe Plumber's killer app might not be Angry Birds or WhatsApp. His killer app might be an app that he can go and buy for maybe $10 a month from a small business directories company or Google or whoever might provision it for him. And all that app does is basically act as some kind of business card on steroids for his plumbing business. Every customer that he sees, he says, hey, scan this QR code or type this into your phone and install my app on your phone. And what it does, it allows you to call him, to email him, to find out where he is, and maybe to share it to some of your mates as well. If this app increases his customer base by 100% in the area where he works, this is his killer app, no question. This could double the size of his business. Yet again, it's a really simple app. Some other examples? What about an enthusiastic ornithologist who wants to keep tabs on where the latest rare species of bird happens to be in their area? It's a really niche use case, but if somebody happens to find, someone that's really into this segment happens to find that there's the world's rarest bird, like 100 meters from where, or 100 miles from where they live, and they can go and see it, that's their killer app. And again, an app for every single bus stop. We did quite a lot of research in as a business to look at travel apps and how we could aggregate lots of different travel information from all sorts of different sources and create really cool travel-based apps. And before we did it, we did quite a lot of market research, and the general consensus was, if I live in Richmond, I really don't care what time the buses and trains are running in Stratford. It's broadly irrelevant to me. What I want if I live in Richmond, or actually more specifically, what I live if I live in a certain road in Richmond, is the timetable of the bus stop that's on that's 100 yards from my front door. And if you can provision an app for every single bus stop across the country, or across London, then for the people that live within 100 yards of that bus stop and you use it every day, then that becomes their killer app. And again, in a similar theme, maybe an app for every single property. Most estate agents already have an app that replicates the functionality of their website, in so much as you can download an app for Savills, for example, from iTunes or AppWorld, and search for properties in a certain area. But what if you happen to just be walking past a property and it had a QR code on it, on an NFC tag? Or you saw a property, you're doing some property shopping, and you're walking up your high street on a Saturday morning on your way to Starbucks, and you look in the property window and you can scan 4 QR codes in the window. and it downloads an app for each one of those properties directly to your phone, almost like a digital mobile brochure. Each one of those could be the killer app for the person that's looking at buying a house. As I said, it's quite a different perspective. In our view, there's really two key trends that are driving us as a business, and we think quite a lot of people to think in this direction. One trend is about app discovery, and the other trend is about app production. So in app discovery, the vast majority of apps today, probably in excess of 95% of apps, are all downloaded from app stores. They're all found in app stores. People search for a brand or a subject in the app store and download it directly from the store. We think over the next 12 to 18 months and beyond, that's going to change. People will continue to download apps from app stores, but the difference will be that in addition to that, there'll be lots of people getting apps from outside of app stores. So NFC tags, QR codes, direct URLs, all that kind of stuff. And that's going to open up a whole new market in distribution of apps. The second key factor or key trend is app production. And the real trend here is one of collapsing production cost and collapsing time to market. At the moment, typically to get an app built, you're looking at months and tens of thousands of dollars. If you can imagine a situation where you could collapse the production cost of an app to sub $100, maybe even sub $10, and also collapse the production time from months down to minutes, then all that stuff about an app for every bus stop, an app for every property, maybe an app for every one of us as a kind of funky business card, who knows? All of that kind of stuff becomes a reality. And we think these trends are going to become more present as we move forward, particularly over the next 12 months. Just very quickly, what does it all mean? So what does it mean for app stores, what does it mean for killer apps, and what does it mean for us? So what does it mean for app stores? Today there's about 1.4 million apps, give or take. It's hard to get a good estimate, but there's 600,000 plus in iTunes, there's about 400,000 in Google, 100,000 in Windows, 100,000 in Nokia, 100,000 in BlackBerry, etc. Add them all up, you're about 1.5 million. We think going forward, this sector here will continue to grow. How quickly, how much, don't know, but maybe in 12 months' time it might have grown by 50%, so 2 million, maybe more apps that are within app stores. But crucially, we think this segment's going to take off. This whole concept of apps that are distributed outside of app stores. We really see that as being a key driver and a kind of a new trend in the market. What does it mean for killer apps? There will always be category of killers. So whether you're a gaming segment, whether you're a messaging segment, whether you're a photography segment, there will always be apps that are coming into the market that are killer apps in their segment. We think they will be very much complemented by a whole portfolio of niche apps that appeal to niche segments. These apps won't ever reach the kind of scale, they may not make it to the top 10 in the charts, but for certain customer segments, maybe only very small customer segments, they will be a killer app. But they're a killer app in the mind of the customer, not necessarily in the mind of the corporation or the entity that's building the apps. Finally, what does it all mean for us? If you're out there building apps, or you're a brand wanting to develop apps, firstly identify what success looks like. So is success getting a top 10 app in iTunes? If so, then you need to do all of the things that Sam talked about. Or is it actually increasing your customer base of your plumbing business in South West London? The two metrics are entirely different, so have a think about what good looks like. Secondly, identify how you want to distribute your apps, whatever else you might want to think about how you want to take that distribution model. And once you've thought about that, then pick the right technology solution. Work out whether you want to build native apps, work out whether you want to build web apps. And fundamentally, the business model is all about that. That's it. Thank you.